Hello, all you extraordinary drywallers out there. We got a good one today. This is the Drywall Podcast, and it happens to be an elite episode of the Drywall Podcast. I'm your host, once again, Nick Harmon. With us today, we have Justin Delk out of St. Louis, Missouri. Justin is a technical field rep for USG. Justin was another product of the union and started there as an apprentice around 19 years old. He didn't stay an apprentice for long and quickly found himself running crews until one day when a field rep came in from USG, he said, "Well, who's that guy?"
Yeah, met Ross. We became friends. We were trialing, the company I was working for was trialing a new product, ultra lightweight all purpose. USG hadn't launched it yet. Wanted some feedback on it. And I said, how do I get that guy's job? You know, the mud rep at the time.
Yeah, no shit.
Like,
he's walking around in khakis. You're covered in mud, busting your ass. That looks attractive over there. Hey, boss, how do you do that?
Yeah. So basically these guys take these jobs. They're in them for a long time. It's really a great position with the company. And about 3 or 4 years later, the rep that does what I do now, his brother owned a contracting company in Texas, and he went to be a superintendent, and the position opened up, and I had the opportunity to apply for it. So
we discuss his introduction to the monster company and how he's one of only 11 field reps nationwide. We discuss his initiative to bring USG to the forefront of social media, and that one time when he started a podcast called Unrivaled. All that and an introduction to Elite Joint Compound, the newest product by USG, on this, the 155th episode of the Drywall Podcast. Don't be scared, new sponsor. You can come in. The water's fine. It's always bittersweet at the onset of a new month because that means we have to say goodbye to our friends at Mudskip and send them off with a hearty thank you. But we get to usher back our friends at Tape Tech for their 5th sponsorship. That's right, number 5. They are now leading supporter of the Drywall Podcast, and we appreciate them for that. Okay, here goes. This month, Tape Tech is spotlighting a tool that will make your corner finishing faster, cleaner, and a whole lot easier on your body. The 2nd generation Tape Tech Mud Runner Pro is here. What? That's right, you heard me right. This thing is designed to apply mud to inside and outside corners with precision control and almost no effort. Right away, you'll notice it's lighter, 15% to be exact, which means less strain, wear and tear, and more finishing without feeling burned out by the end of the day. The Mud Runner Pro has a 20% stronger piston, so it pushes thicker mud effortlessly, and that clear tube. It's not a gimmick. You always know exactly how much compound you've got left. If you've listened this far, you're smart, because Tape Tech is giving one of these babies away at the end of the month. All you have to do is email me your full name, shipping address, phone number, and email. I'll also be doing an offer on my Instagram page, so be sure to look out for that there. But for now, we have my newest friend out of St. Louis, Missouri, Justin Delk, USG Regional Technical Field Rep, on the 155th episode of the Drywall Podcast. And let's get into it.
there you are. I got you.
There he is.
I had to reset my settings on my Zoom for a bit, and then we switched to Teams. So I just had to reset Zooms with the microphone and all of that. So I got you.
Teams. A lot of people are using Teams now.
Internally, yeah, because it links up with your Outlook, and all that. The Teams meetings is all integrated in with your email and all that jazz.
Okay. And I need to get one of those USG hats.
Got you one coming, buddy. No
They're
problem.
nice.
Whole
Those are
shelf up
nice.
back there.
I bet. Justin Delk with Regional Technical Field Rep. Also, you had another name too, but he works with USG. We finally got you on the show. Welcome.
Hey man, thanks for having me. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah. We've just been teasing each other, so to speak. Chad Hesser was the first person that said, "Dude, you need to reach out to Justin," and he's always talking about you. You guys are in communication. Chad, Chad's one of those guys that kind of has his like ear on the ground. He knows a lot about the industry, what's going on. He's a professional in the industry. He's a really good guy to know. You've known him for quite a while, yeah?
Yeah, I started working with Chad. I mean, it's funny how social media works, right? Bring all these entities together, including yourself. I mean, you and I chatted, I think 9 or 10 years ago, and it's a great platform to bring people in this industry, from the end users like you guys, guys like you are stepping out of the realm, doing your own thing, and then guys like me who come from the manufacturing side that also have experience in the finishing world and the drywall world to kind of come together. So yeah, I like to branch out and meet up with a bunch of different people, and just kind of learn what they're doing and what their processes are, and
Sure.
what materials are using. So yeah, absolutely.
But you met Chad through social.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
for sure.
All right. Okay. All right.
He's in my backyard. Like he's only about 4 hours away from St. Louis where I live.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've flown into St. Louis. I've driven through St. Louis now. We sell product at Bruggy in over by Chad in one of their shops now. So that Effingham, yep. It's all those rural areas. I love going out there. There's something like peaceful and timeless about and you're driving out through the cornfields, especially in the winter. When I was there about a year ago, and it was snow. It got snowy, and like we had a window because I drove Greg Strebe. We drove from Springfield up. And so that was about 6 hours or so. I drove all the way from here. I brought the product all the way up there and picked up Greg, and we drove up there. And man, it got snowy, like real snowy.
yeah, for sure. We just had snow hit that Saturday.
Yeah, it was sketch coming through St. Louis at that particular time, but very cool. Okay, we're gonna settle in, and then you and I were having a great conversation about mud. I would assume that Justin is an expert on mud, but we're gonna get more into that. How old are you?
45.
Okay,
The prime age of 45.
not bad, not bad.
Yeah, I've been in
But
this industry since I was 19 years old.
okay,
Like,
let's start. Let's start there. How did you get in?
was going to college and things led to another, and I ended up had to get a job. St. Louis is a strong union market. So I knew some guys. I said, you need to go talk to the union. And I went
Yeah,
and talked to the union. You got to get a company to hire you.
yeah.
So I went in and talked to this company out of Cape Girardeau, and they hired me with a letter of intent, and that started my drywall finishing journey
Were
per
you
se.
you were an apprentice then? Yeah.
I started as an apprentice and then journeyed out a year and a half early. Started running big jobs right about the start of my third year of my apprenticeship.
That's pretty good. I tried to scoot along, so we have similar stories. And did you start at 50% apprentice or did you start a little above?
It's changed a little bit in the past 20 whatever years, but I think I started my apprenticeship at, I think it was about 50%, 50 to 60%,
Okay.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they had like 50, 55, 60, 70, 80, 90, and then journeyman. In Portland, it was a 3-year program. Sorry, that's Joe calling in. Should we take the call? Let's do it. Let's do it. We got a caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show. This is Nick Harmon on the Drywall Podcast. What's up?
Serious right now, not Nick.
Huh? No, I'm serious. I'm on the podcast with Jay Delk from USG. He's an expert in mud. I'm having a podcast with him. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Nick, I might have to call you back then because I need to place an order with you.
Beautiful. We love to hear it, man. What? Yeah, I just jumped on with Justin. We're gonna have an awesome conversation. I'm just kind of messing with you, anyways. But I'll give you a call back right after this.
Oh, you're not actually live then?
Well, no, we're not live. I mean, I'm on the show with him right now. Sometimes it's funny to take calls while I'm on the show, but
I like it.
yeah. Do you want to say anything to the fans out there?
All I'm going to say to the fans is your next podcast will be the mighty GWI from the UK.
GWI in the UK, and Ben's going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get Ben. Okay, all right.
Make it happen, Nick.
I've been working on you guys longer than I've been working on Justin Delk, if that tells you anything.
Well, we really appreciate it, and we will be on. Don't you worry about that, even if I've got to lie to him.
Okay, sounds good, buddy.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
All right, sir. Bye. Stupid.
That's great. Great.
We can do whatever we want. We can do whatever we want. But yeah, that's great. So they're doing, I've been in at GWI in Swindon, England for a little while now. As you know, Chad just went over there. We had a lot of fun. They pump some products. They sell panel ray, which I think is, I don't want to say too much, but that might be, I might have to cut that out. But is that a USG? Is panel ray sort of a USG product, or is that different?
Competitor.
That's a competitor. They're out of Mexico, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But they must be shipping it overseas over there.
I noticed it was better than USG. Tell me more about that. No, I'm joking. I'm messing.
Burn.
No. I think it's predominantly panel ray in England, yeah? Or do they have USG in England as well?
I mean, once Canal purchased us, we became the largest gypsum manufacturing company in the world. But I'm not sure of the logistics and manufacturing processes of what goes on outside of North America.
Okay, you are familiar with GWI though. We went over there and played around with those guys. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw some of the stuff you guys did. It's fantastic.
Good. 50% apprentice, but they journeyed you out in a year and a half instead of the typical 3-year program, right?
Close to 2, but yeah. I started running my first large job. I ran was the Hilton Hotel downtown 4th and Olive Street in St. Louis.
Okay, and
I had about 5-6 guys working for me at that time.
Why'd you move up the ranks so quickly?
I just got stuff done.
You're a badass. You're just a badass.
You get into this industry, you'll hear it 100 times, especially like with you trying to launch a product. I've been doing it this way for 30 years.
Yeah.
The thing with me was I worked hard for the foreman that I was underneath. I learned and I watched what each one of them did. Everybody does it a little bit differently. And I picked up all of those little fine techniques that made me a better finisher. With that, when they would come work on my jobs that I was running, I didn't expect them to do it my way. I kind of just, hey, we've got to get this amount of work done in this amount of time. And it was more of a mutual respect thing. You go through the ranks you go through the trenches a little bit in the beginning, but once they
Yeah.
realize you're not there to try to tell them what to do, not there to try to, force them to do it a different way than what they're used to. There's a lot of respect there. A lot of those guys were hand finishers and hand tapers. I ran a bazooka, so I'd be running a gun or get a lot of production
But
work
you're
done.
still you're an apprentice, dude. How come you like moved so quickly and learned the tools? I honestly didn't know they wouldn't let me learn the tools when I was in the union. They're like, get out of here.
It was a smaller outfit. They probably ran
Okay.
25 guys.
Okay.
And they put a lot of time into training their apprentices
Okay.
back then. You had your rough days, you had your hard
Yeah.
days where they really gave it to you, but at the end of the day it was just like it came easy. If I had to be good at something or decent at something, I was like, I never would have thought it would have been drywall finishing.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool though. So you learned the tools early, you knew the tools, you knew all aspects. The hanging wasn't involved in your union in St. Louis, is that correct?
Yeah, the carpenters union for sure.
Yep. Okay.
But I did, there was a year where I didn't touch tools. There was a year where I had to learn how to hand finish first, hand tape and hand finish before I had tools in my hand.
Okay.
So you kind of learn both aspects of it.
What did you learn first when you were learning the tools?
When I learned the tools, or what was like the first thing that I learned?
The first
thing I learned was how to sand.
You don't care about that. The first tool that they put you on, nail spotter?
No. I chased behind the bazooka for a while, and then it was the 10 and 12 box.
Okay. All right. And what tools were they running over there, that company?
We were running tape techs.
Tape tech.
You're running tape tech bazookas, and you're running tape tech 12s and 10s.
Okay. Do you like
the traditional way
Do you like tape tech?
the traditional way that St. Louis? Yeah, I love tape tech. I own
Okay.
I own a set of tape techs. So yeah, it was chasing after the bazooka on stilts. Learned how to walk stilts pretty fast. Then 10 and 12 bucks in my hand. Then graduated to the angle box. Everything was kind of, you'd glaze your angle, you'd roll and glaze your angles, and then you just take the head off on days and then put it on the back then put it on the angle box. All screws were spotted by hand back then. We didn't have a screw spotter.
Neither did we. It's our beginnings are really similar. But they did not let me let me touch the tools. I think they taught me how to do the boxes, but I did not get to run the bazooka until I left. You started running crews, so you moved ahead in your education timeline very quickly. You progressed. I don't want to jump ahead to USG, but how long have you been with USG? I'm curious.
Years.
Okay, so quite a while. You were 33, 32 when you climbed on with them. So you were you were taping and you were running crews for quite a while, maybe 12 years as well.
Was it around 15, something like that? 15, 16 years.
Okay. And you never owned your own company.
No, I was a general foreman and superintendent for a lot of companies, but never actually owned my own company.
Okay, so how did these USG guys find? And you guys, I assume, were using USG mud. You liked it.
We used it. Well, that comes down to depending on what specialty dealer you're getting your product from.
Okay.
But always was USG in the beginning, because the company that I worked for was also a painting contractor and purchased everything from Sherwin-Williams. So everything was buckets of all-purpose and +3.
Okay.
When I transitioned into more St. Louis companies, everything went to the box, the mud and the joint compound in the box.
Okay.
That's because they didn't want to pay the extra money. You get your all-purpose, 30-year job, your all-purpose, your green lead comes in buckets, all your finished mud comes in boxes, and then you just transition it over.
Why do they do that?
because it saves them $3 a box, and you're running a
Why
company
do?
that's
Oh,
got 60.
I guess they have boxes for the green also, but they have boxes and buckets here. They just have boxes for the all-purpose lightweight here. No
Okay.
buckets.
Okay. It could be demand, could be a supply and demand thing.
Okay.
There's not enough demand for the bales. But it also comes down to what the contractor wants, right? The dealers primarily buy what the contractor wants. And so majority of the Midwest is all your all-purpose, 80% of your all-purpose, your green lids and pails, and then the rest of 2/3 of the job is all in cartons.
Okay.
And it's just a money thing. You're running that many large scale jobs. Why pay the extra $3 or $4?
I don't want to pay the extra.
bucket.
I don't want to pay the extra, and I run a small scale. I started using boxes, so we used Beadex. They had taping, topping, and all-purpose. I always thought that was interesting, but I liked Beadex mud. It was okay.
Yeah, I mean USG purchased BDX years ago,
Okay.
and they had such a great brand that and a great presence. They weren't trying to really change anything, so they let them keep their formulations and just put kind of our branding on their cartons and packaging.
Okay, I didn't know that. Huh. What would you say the major differences between Beadex and the regular USG if you were looking at the all-purpose side by side?
When it comes to all purpose, there's not a ton of differences across the country.
Sure.
Mud's made regionally. I mean, you want to step into this realm right now. Mud's made regionally. Your formulations are different based upon the environmental conditions of where you guys are at, right?
Okay.
So what the formulations for the Northeast versus up New York, New Jersey versus down in Florida, Georgia, they're different compared to the Midwest. That's different than Texas, and a little bit in that Western realm. That's different than California. That's different than the
Really?
Pacific.
So a mud that USG makes for Texas is going to have a different formulation than a mud made for the Northeast?
It might be the same properties in the mud, but the performance attributes based upon what the contractors want could be different.
Okay, interesting.
So it's not one formulation across the board across the country.
All right, we'll go back to the story. We'll get more into mud. There'll be a lot of mud talk on this episode. I want to go back to the story, though. There's a head honcho, the president of USG, stumbles onto your site one day, and he's like, "Who is this kid? Who is this guy running the bazooka? And he's so attractive. We need to hire him." That's how it went down.
So it's funny. The USG rep that was here in St. Louis, I had became friends with through the dealer channels.
Okay.
We would see each other at customer events. If USG had a new product that they wanted to trial, they would bring it out to me back when we had a taping light joint compound.
Just like your relationship with Chad.
Mm-hmm. A lot of what we do is that getting out with professional guys that'll give you honest feedback, constantly trying to bring something more valuable to the table from a manufacturing side to the applicator. So I met this guy. We became friends. I asked him at the time, I said, how do I get, they brought out some ultra lightweight all purpose right when USG had started to launch that. And I met what we call him the mud rep, but it's a contractor specialty rep is my title.
What was his name? What was his name?
The rep?
Yeah.
The contract specialty rep or the gypsum rep?
The person that you met at this particular time that you were in communication with.
His name was Ross Stenzel, and he works for a distribution company now.
He works for
But I
different.
met Ross.
Okay, Ross.
Yeah, met Ross. We became friends. We were trialing. The company I was working for was trialing a new product, ultra lightweight all purpose. USG hadn't launched it yet. Wanted some feedback on it, and I said, "How do I get that guy's job?" The mud rep at the time.
Yeah, no shit.
Like,
He's walking around. He's walking around in khakis. You're covered in mud, busting your ass. That looks attractive over there. Hey, boss, how do you do that?
Yeah. So basically these guys take these jobs. They're in them for a long time. It's really a great position with the company. And about 3 or 4 years later, the rep that does what I do now, his brother owned a contracting company in Texas, and he went to be a superintendent, and the position opened up, and I had the opportunity to apply for it. So
Cool.
it was great.
So, serendipity, but you were putting it out there. Careful what you wish for, intention, like these types of things. You were sort of putting it out there. They recognize your talent, and cool. So you had to fill out an application, no?
Yeah, get online, fill out an application. I think I got called by HR, had 3 or 4 phone interviews.
Okay.
We wanted to do a face-to-face in Chicago the Tuesday after Labor Day. So that first week in September. And, I told my wife, I go, we're not going out this weekend. We're not going out of town. I got to prepare for this job interview.
Yeah.
And had to be in Chicago for an interview at 8 a.m., which is about 5 hours from St. Louis.
Okay.
So I didn't sleep all the night before. Got at 1 o'clock in the morning, start getting my things together, start prepping. You remember for 15 years, I've been in the trenches, slinging mud on drywall, and now
I haven't forgotten. I haven't forgotten, dude. 20 years later, I know. Chad had me running the box in that last the Effingham project. I think you were going to come to that. Because we were trying a new mud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We ended up not coming out due to some things that happened.
Well, you got lucky that you didn't come to that one because, we all know how that turned out. But I ran the box for 2 days. I was so sore, because I had to show off.
Yeah.
But I think Chad would hire me. I don't know. Maybe.
I tell you what, there's probably a lot of guys that would hire you right now. Everybody's starving from what I
know, but I wouldn't want to work for them. just maybe a cushy job at USG, or I don't know, call Joe Koenig, go work at Trim Tex. That would be fun. Their factory's kind of cool. Yeah. Get Noe's job over there. Those guys have like the awesome job in the studio making things, and there's some cool jobs in the drywall space.
There really is, if they're there. I mean, it's
true.
And they're from what I've seen, they're stepping more into the realm of the USG way, where they're taking guys out of the field that actually know how to use the products, have experience with the products and the competition's products to, be the face, boots on the ground, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah. Does USG have any programs in place that are putting workers into the space? Because that seems like it would be beneficial, like the union, but sort of a private program where they're trying to get people involved. Now, I did do an interview with Panel Ray, with a dude from Panel Ray in the office. Ben hooked me up, and how that guy got his job was because Panel Ray went into the college and gave a presentation. It wasn't like sponsored by Panel Ray or anything, but I was like, oh, that's really smart. They're going into the colleges and being like, hey, you guys can, here's an interesting, I think the guy was architect. He was in architecture education. And I just thought that was fascinating. I was like, oh, that's really smart. A mud company's going in like bootlegging college students out of the college. Like that's sharp.
Yeah, USG does the same thing. They show
Okay.
up at campuses. I don't know if they're called job fairs or whatever they are, but
Okay.
trying to recruit talent. There's what 4,000 or 5,000 people that work at USG, from guys that are out in the field to the chemical engineers that are developing the products. So there's a wide array of positions through there, from everything from accounting to HR to inside sales, customer service, outside sales. There's a whole array of employment opportunities.
Okay. All right. Okay, back to the story. You're nervous. You go in there, you have this interview. What do they ask? What are they asking you? Are they just making sure you're not a derelict, first of all? Did they give you a drug test immediately? Like before you even go to the interview?
No, not immediately, not immediately. But it was kind of like a Ferris Bueller's Day Off type of situation. My wife had a really nice car. I didn't take my beater that I drove for work up there.
Okay,
and
all right.
There's no parking. There's no parking in Chicago. Anybody that's been there will tell you that, right? That's why they use a lot of mass transit in and out of the city. The guy hiring for the position, who's no longer with USG, he retired, but he said, you need to park in this parking lot, and then the corporate office is a couple blocks away. Fair enough. A 4.5, 5 hour drive. I wanted to get there, at least an hour, allow an hour of time to get to where I get my marbles, get my bearings, where I was going, and then kind of have time to decompress before the largest interview that I'd ever partaken in. Right.
Yeah.
So pull up, there's a guy working this parking lot, and pull the car in, and he parks it. And then he goes, you can leave me the keys so I can shuffle cars. And all I had was that Ferris Bueller moment where they take the Ferrari out and run it. I'm like,
that movie takes place in Chicago. I don't know if you knew that.
It does. So, I'm like having deja vu of something that's not even going to happen. And I'm like, I'm going to give you the keys to my wife's car. And I kind of scolded at him a little bit and went into the,
hey, it's going to be fine. It'll be fine.
Made my way into the corporate office, and it's you gotta get buzzed in. Somebody's gonna come get you. There's a ton of security there, and get in. And the guy hiring for the position, I told him the story. He's like, "Oh yeah, everybody does that." I'm like, I'm not giving him like I'm in Chicago for one of the first times by myself. Yeah, I'm not giving the dude the keys to my wife's Cadillac, right? Like not happening. So go up. The interview process.
Wait. So two things we know: you're not very trusting, and you have a sugar mama.
I do. It's a drywall money. All that money you make doing drywall.
Yeah. Cool. So how does the interview go?
Interview was fantastic. The vice president of sales for the gypsum division. Drywall mud follows under the gypsum division. There's gypsum and sealing. So everything I do is on the gypsum side of the business. The director of the products that I would be responsible for, so the joint compounds, plasters, textures, level 5, primer, those types of things. Tools, at that time we had sheetrock tools. Still, we still kind of own that before we, let Tool Source Warehouse kind of take that. The vice president of sales basically asked me one question, and he's since retired from the USG as well. He said, "Why should I hire you over a guy that has a college degree?" Because I don't have a college degree. I didn't finish school.
Okay.
And why should I hire you over a guy that's got a college degree and finished school? And I wasn't prepared for that question, but somewhere in the wits of Justin Delk, reached in and said, you can't teach 15 years experience with your products or the competition's products in college.
Great answer.
And he said, son, that's the best answer anybody has given me in any formal interview I've ever had.
Love it.
So come out of there. Yeah, it was great. Come out of there, meet with the guy hiring for the position, and we go to lunch. Wasn't even really an interview. We kind of just learned about each other. I, said our goodbyes, jumped in the car. I'm heading back. Don't really know what's going to happen. I get, 30, 40 minutes outside of Chicago in the burbs, and I get a phone call. They made me an offer, and I had to verbally accept. He goes, the vice president you interviewed with said, I felt like if I told that guy to run through a brick wall, he would have ran through a brick wall for me. I said, if it meant getting this job, I would have ran through 10 brick walls for you guys.
You're pretty stout, too. You could probably run through a brick wall if you needed to. Very cool. So you get this call, and but the cool part is you can work for these guys, and you were sort of, were they targeting you because you live in St. Louis? Like they wanted somebody in that area as a regional sales rep?
Yeah, so the position was going to be originally 3 states. It was Kansas, all of Missouri, and then central Illinois. So they were looking at a guy in Kansas City, and they were looking at me. We were the 2 finalists, I guess.
Okay.
That they were interested in. And I guess St. Louis is, I think the guy that had the job in Kansas City had it before.
Can we shame him? Can we name him and shame him right now?
I don't even remember his name, to be honest with you.
Dang it.
Other people in the company that I work with would remember his name that have been around longer, but I can't even remember.
I'll do some digging. Poor guy. He probably got a job somewhere else.
I'm sure he did for another, somewhere in the industry.
Was he a drywall person, or was he like a college graduate, sales degree type of thing?
I think he was a college graduate sales guy. At the time, I think I was one of the few they had hired without a college degree.
Drywall's special, like having the knowledge that you and I have is such a... Well, and we've talked about it on the Drywall Podcast before. This is like a cool skill set that not everybody has. So if you can take the drywall skill set, and then maybe you're good at interviewing, you can apply it to a podcast, or maybe you're good at art. You can make color joint compound, but you still have that,
for sure,
that skill set to fall back on, or to have good conversations with drywallers, because it's like you talk about the difference between taping and all-purpose. College guy ain't gonna know what the difference is,
it's a lot. It's a lot to learn. You're drinking from a fire hose. You could learn it. Definitely.
Yeah.
A lot of the large commercial and residential guys that I have 8 states now. When I started with 3,
crazy.
The relationship point of view for them is the appreciation value of having a guy out of the field. It is what sets it apart, and they'll test you. They'll test you a little bit. They'll throw some lingo in there when you first meet them, just to make sure. And if you can speak wallboard, mud, plaster, and texture.
That's why I asked about the piss test, because like they don't want a crackhead coming in.
No, for sure.
You got a lot of derelicts in the drywall industry.
So yeah, basically I had the position. I verbally committed. They sent me a formal offer that I had to sign off on, and then I had everything was pending a drug test, which was fine.
Yeah.
And then got the hair test and passed with flying colors.
Good for you, man. And you're just off to the races at that point. You've got to be like on cloud 9, because now your sugar mama, you guys are leveled. You've leveled the playing field with the sugar mama.
That's right. She's a little bit higher than I am, but at least
she still makes a little more.
I'm still bringing something to the table.
How long have you been married?
Um, 13, 14 years.
Okay, 13 or 14. And what's her name? Let's give her a shout out if you don't mind.
No, it's 14. It's 14.
14.
Her name's Kelly.
Is she there right now?
Yep. No, she's working.
Oh, she's working.
How do you think?
You acted nervous.
This lifestyle.
You acted nervous, like you got it wrong, and she's like staring at you. She's like, she's got a piece of paper. She's holding it up. It's 14, numbskull. Yeah.
Are you gonna work today? You
know? Shout out to Kelly Delk. Yeah, very cool. And you're the second Delk that's been on the show. We've had Jay Delk from Tennessee, who's doing he's doing quite a bit of fresco and pushing it down there. Jay Delk came here and hung out with me and Jesse and Mike Drees, and we busted some serious fresco. With those three, I did the largest lid I've ever done out of 2,000 square foot ceiling in a kitchen. And we had like a Perry, and then two of us were on stilts moving across the ceiling. And I think 13, the base coat, it was a skip trowel texture that we were going over, and the base coat took, I think, 12 or 13 boxes of mud. Just the base coat. Yeah. Fun. That's a lot. Almost a literal ton. You chatted with Jay?
Chatted with him. Yeah, so I built a new house during COVID. We sold the old house really quick. And he had sent me some T-shirts, and we had been in communication because I thought it was awesome that there was a guy the same last name as me in the same industry as me.
Totally.
I'm not sure if we're any relation or not. I don't think we are, but I haven't dug down 23andMe to see yet.
Yeah.
But it was cool. We had chatted, but I have lost the things that he had sent or misplaced them and moving. They're in a box somewhere. So I was going to do a shout out to him as soon as I find that stuff. But hey, here's your shout out right now.
Yeah. And, Jay. Yeah. He needs some more. He needs a little more swag. Jay's super cool. And his logo is really cool too. It's the car. Everybody loves it.
So I think his first logo, I saw one of my coworkers, saw him in an airport, and he had like the Jack Daniels logo, and it said Delk Drywall. And he said, this. One of my coworkers like, you related to this guy? Is this you? Like, start a company? And I'm like, no, but that's awesome. And that's right when everybody was starting to get pretty big into social. I want to say 10 years ago. And that's how we reached out and chatted through that. I follow him. He does a great job. I think he's got his son working for him too, if I'm not mistaken. And great guy, great company.
He did an interview on here. So yeah, there's a podcast with Jay Delk. I can't think of what number it is right now, but yeah, we had a good chat a little while after he came back from I don't know why I've gotten used to like interviewing, because we were going to do it live and in person, and I've gotten used to this format. I'm in my house, like there's no stress. It's really cool when I get to interview somebody from like Australia, because it's like I have to figure out, it's 9:00 here, it's like 3:00 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Their time. So we have to figure that out. But we've had a couple from Australia and New Zealand. Cool. Back to the story. So you get the job. I'm interested in this. I mean, and congratulations. What a cool story to go from, being a drywaller, being in the trenches to, and you get to go in. So you go in and you flip your existing boss off, take a shit on his desk.
Gave him my 2 weeks.
Yeah, and, rub some stuff on his head. No.
And they became a customer, so it was cool, right? Like all the guys, all the companies that I'd worked for in St. Louis, all the guys that I had known through the union or just other tradesmen on loan here and there. I mean, now they're my customers. So
of course, your boss was probably sad to see you go, I'm sure.
One of them now works for USG.
Of course. Like we got a boy. We got a boy.
Yeah, I know a guy.
I know a guy. Very cool. So let's talk about what you do. Let's fast forward to today. You said, and we'll talk about you. Did we meet through Drywall Talk? Is that how we met? You said originally?
We met so about 10 years ago. USG was missing the boat on, social media marketing, right? And I was reaching out. I was on all of these sites, these large drywall platforms, and I was reaching out to anybody through Messenger or the platform that was using our product, right? So you were one of the ones that, I remember vividly. I think you had like a Game of Thrones, +3 stuff, like a big
with my son. I got the pictures somewhere with my son.
So and it was cool. So I'm like, you and I think started chatting back then. I think you were just getting your other company off the ground. And basically my thing was I wanted to show an appreciation to anybody that was basically using USG products in their posts that maybe weren't getting the recognition for it. So I kind of started my own thing. Drywall Shorty, Lydia, I was talking to her before she, back then I was talking to the drywall chicks,
and
Leah Pollock up in Canada.
Also shout out to Drywall Shorty. Like she named her whole studio. So she has a USG studio, right?
Yeah, she's one of our sponsored, USG kind of sponsors her now. And that's when they picked her up, it's kind of when I backed off of what I was doing, because I wanted to see USG really succeed in going down this road and having kind of sponsored end users or influencers. So she's great. She does a great job.
She's a pro. And we've had Lydia on the show 2 times, aka Drywall Shorty, and she's just a sweetheart. I met her. She's salt of the earth, man. And she crushes it still. Her and those taper chicks and up in Montana.
Yep.
Yeah. Shout out to the women in the trade for sure. There's a bunch of them, and they all kick ass, man. Social media, you and nobody else is doing this at USG. Like why? Like they don't have a social media department, some like college kids. But there again, the college kids are coming out. They don't know who to follow. They don't know what to say. They're not going to be adequate at a social media account for USG because they can't engage with the drywall audience.
So we do. We have a social media team now, and they're doing a really good job. You got to think from a manufacturing side. There's so many more components, whether it's new product launches, product awareness, so many different divisions.
Yeah.
With the ceiling line, the roofing line, the gypsum side. So they're working that aspect of it. To get down into the nitty gritty, you're still the largest manufacturing company of, gypsum products. So there's a professionalism that comes with that. And I think they're doing a really good job. They saw the value, saw the value of it kind of.
But you planted that seed for USG. Would you say you were the pioneer for social within the company, or did you work with some other people? Or
I would like to think that I had a hand in that. Correct. I kind of went off and did my own thing, kind of rogue.
Oh, okay.
And without really bringing USG in, and a lot of it was giveaway stuff. A lot of it was, in the beginning of social 10 years ago, it was like, hey, post a picture with USG products for a chance to win, a set of knives or some USG swag. but all of those influencers was early on influencers. If you go back and start looking at the posts, they've all got USG swag that I sent them in the mail. And so
Okay.
I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that is cool. And good on you for sort of seeing that need early on. But you're saying that's how we met, and then I sent you some product that you never used, and then you lost it, just like you lost Jay Delk's swag that he sent you. So
Did.
if you're gonna send Justin something, he's gonna lose it.
Well, 2019 and 2020 was a crazy time. Aside from COVID, like I said, we had some property. My wife and I had some property we're going to build on. Had the opportunity to buy my childhood home. Sold a house. Had a new baby. There
Uh,
was, stuff going from storage lockers to in-laws' houses to my mom's house. There was stuff everywhere, and it's probably still in a box somewhere. All this stuff.
well, I'm gonna
So
get you another. I'm gonna get you another color pack because that whatever house you're in there, you definitely got to do an accent wall there for sure. Easy peasy.
yeah, I'd show you the brick accent wall next to me. That's like there's a vault down
Okay,
here in the basement of this house,
nice,
and I masked off concrete, floated mud on it, and it looks identical to brick. So yeah, it's
nice.
pretty cool.
But yeah, you can do anything with mud, man. It's awesome stuff.
It's fantastic. It looks. I mean, if you get your grout joints, your mortar joints right, that's the key thing, right? Because brick doesn't have big mortar joints. I think I used I don't know half-inch masking tape on that, and used the concrete, the gray color of the concrete as the mortar joints, and then you had this
There you
white
go.
joint found on it,
Yep.
and then I just painted it all black. Everybody was going painting everything black and gray and
Oh,
whitewashing back then.
you painted over it.
Painted it all, yeah, solid. So it's solid black right now. Yeah,
All right. And
yeah.
if
I've got,
you're
got some
if
photos on.
if you have real brick that's painted, I've covered that quite a bit too. With I'll do a preliminary coat with Quickset, and then I'll do the Fresco
Yeah,
Harmony three coat process over brick, cinder block, like all that stuff. I've done that a few times.
three
Um,
coats because of the shrinkage into the mortar joints and stuff.
the mortar joints will want to flash through. They're tough to get rid of, but yeah, the painted is actually easier than the non-painted. But mud will, people are always like, you know, the one of the larger questions I get is like, will it stick to existing painted texture? Oh, I have this gloss paint tech. I'm like, yeah, I've never primed a wall. Like, just for all you listening out there, I've never primed a painted textured surface. I buried everything with joint comp. And if you think about it, like on the job site, it'll like you get a blob on the window. Like it sticks to glass. Like it'll stick to anything. Um,
Especially green lit all purpose. I mean, it's got the best bond. I personally would probably scratch it a little bit with some sandpaper to rough it up just to be safe. But
no,
you know,
no need. Tile.
yeah,
I've gone over tile. The tile I did prime. But like you can go over tile. I tell people you can go over tile. It's no big deal.
I'm
Uh,
not admitting to anything
yeah,
big.
yeah. Justin is not. Justin is
Stick
he's
to the
just a rep.
manufacturer's recommendation.
You got to read the box. Read the box. And there's some fun facts on the box too. One of them, don't sand. Use a wet sponge, right?
To help minimize dust. Yeah, to help minimize dust.
Okay.
There's not a tradesman that listens to you that's going to wet sand a joint.
A whole house.
Yeah, I mean you're covered in it. It's happening.
It's
it's
happening. That's funny.
there's no time in that. It wouldn't bid for that.
Yeah, and disclaimer, if you put Fresco Harmony or Mud Max or Mud Skip or any other product into USG joint compound, you void the warranty. We're just going to get that out there right now before we start talking nonsense. You do.
soap. Don't put soap in it.
No dish soap. All you dish soap people out there, or with the no POC, you got the no POC. All of that color for your touch ups, none of that. Although I wonder, is that you guys haven't okayed that stuff?
It's more along the lines of USG's job isn't to test our products with other manufacturers' products. It's their job. So for us to come out, there's just so many things that can happen. And the biggest name, the biggest entity is the one that always looks to be the responsible one.
Sure.
So if you stick to the manufacturer's recommendations, then, you don't have any issues with us if there is a problem. It's when you alter the state. And the problem is we've got a ton of scientists at our CIC that can take a section of wallboard out to tell you exactly how much primer, how much paint, how much joint compound. They can mic it all down. We can take the joint compound and reverse engineer it and see what's in it if we wanted to get down to that point. But it's just, we understand people do it their way. We're not going to tell you you can't.
Yep.
There's potential issues. We're washing our hands of any warranty information.
For sure. I remember a while ago, I tried to get into Chaparral, and that was the big inhibitor. We are an L&W in Albuquerque, but I tried to get in Chaparral prior to that, and it went up the pole quite a bit, and then that's what killed it was the warranty on the mud, which I looked into because then I was like, oh, okay, I get that, because USG doesn't want to be responsible for people doing weird shit with mud that they don't sanction. You guys are making a mud for a specific purpose. Your recommendation is to use that mud for its purpose. And, anything beyond that, they can't be responsible for. And, that makes sense too. Social media, you're going in a new direction with maybe some other people on board now. Obviously, it's a big deal. You guys are probably on TikTok everywhere, whatever. Was it your idea to have a podcast for USG? And tell me a little bit about that. And you had like a buddy. I've watched I think I've watched an episode, and it was pretty good because you guys were like talking the talk. Aside from the Drywall Podcast, it might be the best one that I've seen.
I appreciate that. It was more along the lines of bringing awareness to USG.
Okay.
My idea was, why don't we tell the industry a story about what USG brings to the table? We're not just this large manufacturing company that doesn't care about our end users, especially the guys that do what I do, the outside sales reps. We build relationships with these contractors and these dealers. We're the support for all of the retailers and the dealers that sell USG. So everybody that buys from anybody that uses USG products in a certain area is our customers. We want them to know that, hey, you have a person there, you have who's going to listen, who can help you out, they can answer questions, maybe help you along on a job if you're having issues. That was kind of my idea, right? Was why don't we tell a story that separates us from our competition and let them know that nationwide up into America and Canada, even down into LATAM, we have the appropriate people in place that are there for support and help. It's not just about sales.
And so you had another character on there. Who was that? Okay.
Yeah, we had a regional quality manager. So anything that goes wrong with our products, you've got these regional quality managers that work with the plants, and then our corporate innovation center.
Okay.
That we get to talk to if there's anything, outside of our realm. And then there was 11 of me in the country. I think at that time, Noe Alonso out of California, him and I were on there together because we have different, since we live in different places, we have different environmental conditions.
Okay. Cool.
So it was good to have him there.
That might have been the one that I've seen. How many episodes aired, and where can our listeners go find those?
They were, I think we did three, and I
Okay.
think you can find them on USG.com. If you want to scroll
Okay.
through there, where exactly it's at, I can't tell you right now, but I will, and then you can find it on YouTube at USG. I think it's Unrivaled. USG Unrivaled. I don't know if there's a backslash or .com in there, but USG Unrivaled. You can find the podcast on YouTube.
And then you had a name, right? Was it what was the name of the podcast?
That was it. USG Unrivaled.
USG
Yeah,
Unrivaled.
off the wall.
Off the wall.
Yep. I'm sorry.
Because Walls and Ceilings Magazine also has a podcast that they do, Behind the Wall. And then Trimtex has a minute with Joe Koenig. Sometimes he'll jump on there and do a little thing. There's been a couple of offshoots and podcasts that have tried to get legs.
No, it's fantastic. So what I'm going to focus on next year is actually launching my own podcast with the help of USG, and then kind of do an introductory into the guys that do what I do. And then from there, maybe segment it out regionally per the products used in the market, the application processes. The one thing that I use vividly with everybody I talk to is finishing drywall. And you can use this if you want.
Sure.
Finishing drywall is the only trade that you can do it completely different with different products and different application techniques and get the same result at the end. It's the only trade.
I like it.
So when you think about that broad spectrum of universally using different products, setting type compounds, joint compounds, trials, mechanical tools, pan and knives, banjos, bazookas, hand taping, and then just an array of different formulations across the country. They all are interchangeable. You get the same, at the end of the day, you're trying to get the same result. So it's the only trade you can do that with. And I think that's an awesome story to tell.
Yeah, for sure. I like the idea too of like gathering people from within, because you have so many people inside of USG. I mean, you could almost start like a company, where you just do spotlights on people within USG, whether it's the president or the social media team or all the field reps. You could do a whole, okay, this month is field rep month. We're going to have, 3 episodes with the field reps or something. That'd be cool. Something but you're saying this would be sort of on your own, or is this something that that USG could get behind you on, perhaps?
Yeah, for sure. I've worked with our marketing team, talked with them and our social media team. It's more along the lines of just kind of getting it done. We've had some acquisitions within the company. We've acquired a couple other companies. We've been working on some new innovations. So that took a little bit of time this year. We relaunched our USG's Elite Finish. So there was a lot of time in that. So there wasn't a ton of time to kind of dial in with everybody. I think in the next year, there'll be, as things are organically kind of happening, it'll allow me some time to kind of lock that in. And then we've had some positional moves. The guy that was in the Pacific Northwest no longer does what I do and took a different role in the company.
That's it. But
So
I'm from up there. I'm your guy. Like I can be your Pacific Northwest. I'll just throw that onto the load that I already have.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my gosh. Sure. I think it'd be fun, dude. I would love that job.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're dealing with guys that are doing what you're doing, and they're not always the happiest people.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
slinging all day, cold, hot,
Yeah.
dirty. So I think sometimes coming in and just kind of saying thank you for showing them some appreciation goes a long way. And they're
Absolutely.
already using your products, man. Like it's
Yeah.
why not just tell them thank you, buy them lunch, give them some t-shirts, whatever it is.
Totally.
So,
Yeah. No, that's smart. That's just smart. I'm surprised there's only 11 or around 10 or 11. Oh, the Elite Finish. So you sent Chad some Elite Finish to try out. Is Elite Finish on the market yet?
it is. It's only available in the Midwest, though, because it was regionally
special order.
I know.
It's got bits of gold. It's got they sprinkle a little gold in it.
Unicorn horns and pixie dust.
Yeah.
Stuff in it.
Those are unicorns. Those are unicorns that they were going to be put down. They had diseases. No unicorns were killed in the making of Elite Finish.
For sure.
Why is it so elite? Tell us a little bit about it.
It's interesting one of the things that I did is when I first started was just ask questions, right? This industry hasn't changed. I mean, they invented drywall joint compound. USG invented joint compound 105 years ago.
Okay. Fun
right?
fact.
Yeah. 1920 was when it was invented. When you look back through the trades over the years, the last 100 years, there's not a ton has changed. You've had some cool innovations, right? Cool tools. But as far as the joint compound, the stuff that goes on the wall, besides some performance attributes, not a lot's changed. It's, tape, fill, finish, sand, right?
Yeah.
Skim.
Yeah.
I went out, asked the guys, the professional contractors, the large residential commercial guys, like, if I could give you the best joint compound, what would it be? Right. +3's a great joint compound. The Midwest, they tape with an all-purpose, they finish with a lightweight.
Yep.
The lightweight mud, it drives the manufacturer of the taping compound, right? A lot of guys don't care what they use the tape with. It all matters to how that mud shrinks, sands for the finish coats. So we had a competitor that we were going against, and what we found out is their lightweight joint compound is not an all-purpose. Okay. +3 is a lightweight all-purpose joint compound.
Okay.
Which means it meets the AST standard for bond. Well, you got the +3 here. This guy's coming in, and we're not really comparing apples to apples. It's apples to oranges, right? They can maneuver their formulation because they don't have to meet that ASTM standard because they don't have all-purpose on the carton or the packaging. So with that, I'm like, let's develop a lightweight finishing joint compound that's not an all-purpose. Leave +3 alone. It's got a great following. But let's target these guys over here that are using
would you consider that a topping?
It's basically a topping. Even though we have a topping, this is a different application. Actually.
Would you consider because you talked to me about the Elite using it with Fresco Harmony? Would you consider that a good mud to use with a product like Fresco Harmony, taking into consideration the adhesion that I like to have with the all-purpose because I'm going over weird substrates a lot and doing patching with Fresco Harmony a lot. I'm using Fibofuse tape. I'm taping patches with colored mud and sealing it a lot. I want a mud that adheres as well, but a lot of people really love topping mud when they use Fresco Harmony.
Okay. I would say that there would be some testing that you would have to do with that because we do not recommend taping with Elite Finish. It's strictly a finishing mud.
Okay. All right. Yeah. But people do. They love using they wonder why I don't use topping. Well, it's for that reason. I try to keep it simple. I want to use a tape mud that I can tape with. If I got to fix something, I got a bucket of Patterson snow there. I'm just going to use I'm just going to use the Patterson snow to tape a patch or whatever, fix a hole, and I'm not wasting product too at that point. Um,
Sure.
uh, so you have a topping, but you're coming out with the elite. What's the purpose? Why?
So, like, if you looked at the professional contractors and you looked at, I don't know of any of them that use topping. They all use plus three as a finishing joint compound. So I'm not cannibalizing the topping business because your large commercial residential guys aren't using topping anyway.
Okay.
Um, so it's how do we develop a new lightweight finishing joint compound, since it's a two mud market in the Midwest. A lot of it's a two mud market, all purpose to tape with, lightweight to finish with. How do we do that? So we took all those key attributes that everybody was asking for: shrinks less, smooth and creamy, minimal water, great viscosity, which means that it's got good body, good flow, slip on the knife with the boxes, and then sands easy. So we put all that stuff together. It took about 3 years.
Okay.
2016, 2019. We spent time. We went through multiple formulations. The rep that does what I do in Chicago, his name's Chris Borofka. He's an ex-plasterer by trade,
Okay.
out of the burbs of Illinois. And then there was a rep in Minnesota named John Nelson, who was also an ex-finisher by trade. He's now our rep in Colorado now.
Okay.
Us three got together, worked with our product management team and our formulator,
Awesome.
and then we tested a ton of these formulations of this mud in real life application situations. So up in Minnesota, they use a trowel, hawk and
Okay.
trowel. So John, that's what John did. So hawk and trowel, and Chris, being the plaster, ex-plaster, was a knife and a hawk. He also uses a pan and knife, and then me coming out of St. Louis was all pan and knife. So we would set up at our research facility in Libertyville, Illinois. We would set up these mock-up walls, and we would, every 2 feet we would have a joint,
Okay.
and we cut the board, we'd flip it back and forth. So you basically had a flat and then a butt joint 2 feet away. The main thing was to get the flow of the material, right? So everything's taped.
And are you doing it by hand, or are you just by hand, or are you running it through the boxes as well?
Yeah, we ran it through the boxes as well. So we took all the competitors from around the region. We took our own existing plus threes, and then these formulations of this mud, and we tested it side by side in 50, 60, 70 seams, 8 foot tall. And then we
Yeah.
were able to see how the shrinkage was. We were see how the flow was, how the pocking, the pitting, if it did that on deep fills, double coats, how it, you hit it one time, how it feathered out on the second coat, and then come back in and do it again for you get your bed coat, then your finish coat, and then we sanded it all. And this mud is everything that we say it is.
Okay.
So
And
we launched it in 2019, right before COVID, which was a terrible time to launch a joint compound.
yeah,
And
sure.
so we just relaunched it January of 25.
And were they at the AWCI show? Were they showing off this elite?
I don't think so. I think they were showing off a few other things. This mud's not a nationwide mud. It's a regional
Okay.
mud. You're on a platform like the Aussie show, to bring something in that people can't have
Yeah.
necessarily might not be the best fit, but we had a bunch of other great products there.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. That's so cool that you got to be a part of that experimentation and development of that product. And it's cool that USG is bringing in real professionals to vet these products. They're not just making them in a lab and throwing them out to the public. These are getting vetted by professionals like yourself and others. Gives the company clout, I would say, you know. So when people are complaining on social media, which they do, about muds and sheetrock and things like that, you know, you have to understand, like, these companies are doing, they're using professionals, they're hiring people like Justin to create better products every day. That's cool. You got to be a part of, like, this mud. I mean, you can put your stamp on it. That's cool.
They bring a few of us in on anything new and innovative. That's one of the things that I love about USG is we're kind of the go-to guys on the technical side, new innovative side. Anything that goes on, they vet it through us. We take it out into market with some trusted guys that we know will give us honest feedback. It might take a few trips to do that. There might be some changes here and there. And then those guys validate it, and then you put it out in the market, and the market validates it.
What has Chad's feedback been on the Elite?
Elite Finish is the best mud. Yeah, Elite Finish is the best mud he's ever used. That's Chad's feedback? I think he told me that. I can't remember. Maybe I asked him, but he says it's the best mud he's ever used. Now, he's not going to use it for taping, correct? Correct. No, you can't. Not for taping. And if you do, don't tell me about it. We're not going to warranty it.
Okay. Why did Chad say that he liked it?
Chad was using the competition and just the performance.
What was he using? What was he using? You can speak freely on here. We'll bash those guys. No, I'm joking.
They were using one of our competitors. And,
okay, fair enough. I mean, I think it's important for our listeners to know these different brands. Because
next time we'll get into the ring and start boxing a little bit.
Okay. All right.
Next time we can box a little bit. I'll keep it professional for now.
I want somebody to call me and be like, dude, you asked. They never will. I would say if you're in the Midwest, you know who this competitor is, right? All right, there you go.
And they do a great job. You can't take anything away from them. This mud here, though, is
Chad's making the switch. Chad's making the switch to Elite. Okay.
Yeah, there are a lot of companies right now in the Midwest that are revalidating this joint compound. And if I had to guess, we've already started making it in Baltimore, so it's already working its way up into the Northeast. Eventually, this mud could go nationwide.
Okay. All right. Okay. Very cool.
In due time.
Chad was talking to me about using it in Fresco. My only challenge is color. And I'll tell people, like, color consistency is based on consistency of the mud that you use. You can use whatever mud you want. We recommend USG because that's what our color chart is based on. And it has a white base. It really does. I don't know if you guys are pigmenting the base of
that's the raw materials. The raw materials are sourced locally. They're not shipped in. When it comes to those, some of those raw materials that, with regionally where our plants are, might have some pure color.
But it's crazy, dude. I'll do patches from 14 years ago. I'm not joking, and have perfect color. Yeah. Like, that's why you want to use a consistent batch of mud. Because if I'm using a bunch of different muds as I go on my Fresco Harmony process, then I have to remember every job what I used. So I strongly recommend that people use one mud. I recommend an all-purpose if you have to patch. Then you're just coloring one mud. Pick a mud, pick whatever you want, but stick with it.
So I do get some complaints that come across where guys are like, you guys change the color, and sometimes distribution ships internally within themselves, and they'll pull mud out of other markets. So they'll be using a mud made at another manufacturing plant that's got a little grayer tint, or it's got, And I'm like, well, that's the reason. And so it's your distributor that's pulling in mud from maybe other places
Okay.
that might perform the same, but at the same time, it's, they're limited to the raw materials that they're sourcing locally, might have a little bit more iron in it, which gives it, the
Okay.
vein, which gives it a little grayer color, might have a pure vein of the raw materials that we're using, and it might be a little bit whiter. It might get to Colorado and it's pink. I mean,
Right, right. Because
it's
the red
crazy.
rocks. I personally, I haven't noticed any difference, and I've been using it for 20 years, like palette after palette after palette. One uncanny aspect of Fresco Harmony is that it colors from batch to batch. A lot of that is because I'm coloring a all-purpose a ready mix versus a powder. Like
Sure.
plasters tend to be powders. Those powders are difficult to regulate the color. You get color drift. You got to go corner to corner. Like it goes off. All these reasons. Um, you know why I think all-purpose is a great way to go when you're doing a specialty wall finish. Um, and that's why I love talking to mud guys. You and I had a cool conversation offline. We can definitely extend that. I'm gonna send you another sample pack. This one
Love
you
it.
got to use. This one you got to use, man. Especially in your office there, you got to do like just do an accent. That's how you get hooked. But be careful because it's Kelly, right?
Yeah.
She'll want the whole damn house done. If you do a wall and do it right, I'm not joking, dude. She'll want the whole house. She'll be like, "Oh, okay, well, let's do the living room next. You can do this, Justin?"
I do have a cool stairwell wall leading down into this basement that's going to get some cool stuff done on it, and
Okay.
it's yeah, that'd be great. We'll talk offline on my
Yeah.
colorways that I may need that we can make this work.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate your time, sir. I'm extremely impressed with what you've done with your drywall career. It's super cool. I'm super happy that you came on the podcast today and gave us your time. It's an interesting story, and hopefully we shed some light on USG and mud. One thing I asked all of my interviewees is a pearl of wisdom. What do you got? Something you could put on a
Was
billboard or that you could bestow your brilliance onto the drywall community.
way to put me on the spot. You couldn't have sent that over in a quick ad lib before we got started.
Well, if you're an avid listener of the podcast, you know that this comes at every at the end of every episode.
just drove a bus over me, folks.
Oh man. No, I don't. Not everybody's a podcast listener. I was going to ask you too about if you were like into podcast because I think your podcast was you were doing that before the Drywall podcast, or did it come after?
Was probably 2 or 3 years ago, maybe.
Okay, so it was around the same time. Did I mean? I thought it was a smart idea. I still think it's a smart idea. Do you listen to podcasts? Is that something that
I do.
because
I
so
do.
you do listen to the podcast sometimes. All right.
It,
There are
it
worse
ain't just
podcasts
yeah.
to listen to than the Drywall podcast. Some of the episodes are actually pretty interesting. Just there's
No,
my plug.
it's a great story to tell, right? Like I said, the people you're working with in different countries and different entities across this country, it's a cool story, man. And when you realize you're not on an island by yourself,
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. My words of wisdom would be don't ever quit believing in yourself. You get knocked down, keep trying. Don't regret not taking that step later on in life and wish you would have. I definitely live by that right now. With getting this job at USG, I know it sounds silly, but definitely the best thing that ever happened to me. And if I would have not continued to keep, believed in myself and had people around that pushed and believed in me, I wouldn't be where I'm at talking with you guys today. So
Yeah.
never give up on yourself.
I mean, of this podcast, that the story of you, I mean, just how do I get that job? You went from how do I get that job to, driving to Chicago. And, you have to risk failure. That dude could have said no. Those guys were ballers, man. They're vetting you serious. This is a serious position. This is a serious company. And, you are putting yourself out there. You have to do that in this life to make it to the next step or achieve your goal or whatever you want to do. You have to risk failure, and it's scary, but there's rewards on the other side.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
It's very cool. Justin Delk, regional technical field rep for the monster company USG, one of 10 or 11 in the country that do what you do. That's pretty cool. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. We'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks for having me. You guys have a great day.
All right, you too, buddy. Talk soon.
Talk to you.
Huge shout out to Justin for being with us on the Drywall Podcast today. Thank you so much for bringing your insight, information. You can follow Justin on your favorite platforms. Look for USG_Delk. You'll find him and his content. I follow him on Instagram. That is a good spot. Also, we'd like to give a warm Drywall Podcast welcome to Tape Tech for sponsoring the Drywall Podcast in the month of December. This is their 5th sponsorship. And this month we are highlighting the Mud Runner Pro. One of the biggest upgrades from this Mud Runner to the last is the adjustable length from 52.5 inches to 60.5 inches. Giving you the versatility you need. And if you still need more reach, Tape Tech's got you covered with the MRX01TT Mudrunner Pro extension, sold separately. It adds up to 20% more overall length to the Mudrunner Pro when installed. And because of how it attaches the extension port, the extension actually becomes your new twisting on and off lever for the tool. Pretty cool innovations, but I have to say the coolest part is that the Drywall Podcast teamed up with Tape Tech, and we are giving one of these babies away. All you have to do is email me, info@frescoharmony.com. Give me your name, your email, your physical address, and your phone number, and you'll be entered to win. And also be sure to follow us on Instagram, both the Drywall Podcast and Tape Tech. We will have more information there. You have a lot of choices to listen to when you listen to something on the radio. Today you chose the Drywall Podcast. That's super awesome of you. I really appreciate it. Justin appreciates it. Join us every Friday for new and exciting episodes. Next Friday is kind of exciting. We are going to have the president of Ames, Mike Ventura, on the show. Don't adjust your dial. You heard me correct. The very tippy top of the monster company Ames, Mike Ventura, is going to be on the show. You will not want to miss that one. It is good. Mike's a great guy. We have an amazing conversation. And as you head into your week or weekend, remember, keep drywalling.